This is Season 2, Episode 20, Songs 1620 to 1601.
Christopher Williams, Billboard Top 3000 Countdown. Yeah. Every chorus, every hook you know by heart. Christopher Williams, Billboard Top 3000 Countdown. From number one to the ones that lit the charts.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Chris's Billboard Top 3000 Countdown podcast, where I discuss a set of songs that are ranked in Billboard's all-time countdown from 1958, August 4th, through the end of 2022, a span covering over 65 years of the rock era and over 13,500 songs that have hit the top 40 in that time span. Now, Billboard assigns a point value based on number of weeks in the chart, its peak position, and it's weighed through various eras throughout the rock era. The point values are all added up. They are ranked from most to least. We shave off the top 3,000, and then we discuss them here in sets of 20 per podcast. I hope you enjoy. On June 25th, 1967, an estimated 400 million people tuned in to watch a telecast of a global television production link of Our World, of which the Beatles were recording this song at their Abbey One studios. It was 1967, after all, the summer of love, and it was 3 weeks after the Beatles released what many considered to be one of the greatest albums ever to come out, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. No singles were released off of that album, but they did release this one that was recorded 3 weeks later, called All You Need Is Love. It didn't take long for that song to hit number one either. It debuted in the Hot 100 at 71, went to 29 the next week on July 29th, 1967. 1 week later, it vaulted to 3, where it hit number one 2 weeks later. It's one of the best songs ever that hit number one, despite spending less than double digits in the top 40 as a whole, only 9 weeks. And I can think of no better song to start off a podcast of which I took a 1 week hiatus. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this countdown again, and song number 1620. Here are the Beatles with All You Need Is Love.
Easy. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love is all you need.
This is the 13th time we've heard the Beatles on this countdown, and the 7th time we've heard a number one song for them. They have 20 number ones, so we're not running out of them. Now, the backing vocals for this song included distinguished rock and roll legends like Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Donovan, Graham Nash, Marianne Faithfull, and Gary Leeds. Pretty fascinating, huh? And I love the ending of the song where Paul McCartney starts to do the riff from She Loves You. It's such a fun song and such a great song to lead off this particular podcast, the Beatles. Song number 1620, that is All You Need Is Love. And hello again, everybody. I missed you guys after being off for a week, but I'm back and ready to go to close out the 1600s. We'll have finished 1,400 of the 3,000 songs on this countdown. And a lot of the songs in this set are ones you might have been waiting for some time. A lot of good 80s hits, some late 80s hits. We have singers and bands that made a name for themselves in the 70s, but went on to have some of their biggest hits in the 80s and the 90s. And some of them are in this set, all crammed together. We also have 3 great R&B classics from the late 60s and early 70s by 3 different legendary bands, also all crammed together. I love it when this stuff is all meshed into the same podcast. We go as far back as 1965, but there are no songs in this set of 20 that are from the 21st century. The latest we get is 1998. So for us Gen Xers and our baby boomers, this is our sweet spot. We do end this podcast, though, with a song from 1982, my favorite year in the rock era, which I have mentioned probably about 100 times on this podcast journey. And I asked the question on the Facebook group, what is your favorite song from 1982, my favorite year? I got a lot of responses. I'm not going to be able to get to all of them, as I do want to shorten the podcast just a tad, but I appreciate everybody that gave responses. I've got at least 65 comments already since I asked the question a few days ago. You know, we have a Facebook group, Chris Billboard Top 3000 Facebook group. If you're not in it, please request to join, and I will invite you in. We have 423 members, 25 of them in just the last couple of days. I guess the advertising did work. So welcome aboard to all the new members. I hope you enjoy this podcast. And enough of me talking about the podcast, and let's do some songs. Song number 1619, Sheena Easton was always a pop artist that I associated with the early and mid-'80s when she hit number one with Morning Train 9 to 5 in 1981, and then subsequent songs like For Your Eyes Only and Strut, all top 10 hits. But she did have a little bit of success in the late 80s. In particular, this song from 1989, which I always remember in an advertisement for Chicago Health Club, of which Sheena Easton was a promoter, shaking her hips. I do remember the commercial. It was very sexy. The song's called The Lover in Me, and it hit number 2 for a single week on March 4th, 1989, kept out of the top spot by Debbie Gibson's Lost in Your Eyes, her biggest number one hit of her career, which we will get to later. But it is not about Debbie Gibson, it's about Sheena Easton. Song number 1619. This is The Lover in Me. The dance arrangement for that song does sound more late 80s than mid 80s, doesn't it? Same artist, Sheena Easton, but she has adapted from the early 80s roots over to late 80s pop dance. That was Sheena Easton and The Lover in Me, song number 1619 on Billboard's Top 3000 Songs of All Time. She's got one song left, the aforementioned Morning Train, that number one hit. We'll get to that one in season 3. Sheena Easton is sandwiched between two 60s heavyweights. We had the Beatles on one side of it with All You Need Is Love. At songs 1618, we've got the Supremes, quite possibly the biggest American act to come out of the 60s. And this one also hit number one, the November of 1965 classic I Hear a Symphony from the album with the same title, the only number one off that album. This is a classic from the hit-making factory of Holland Dozier Holland of Motown. They had actually had the previous song, Nothing But Heartaches, fizzle out at number 11, which broke a string of number one hits, and they were determined to have the next one be number one, as the Supremes' worldwide acceptance is greater than other artists. On them, we will only release number one records. And they did it. I Hear a Symphony, 2 weeks at number one, and it's song number 1618. Here are the Supremes with I Hear a Symphony.
Whenever you're near, I hear a symphony, a tender melody, pulling me closer, closer to your arms. Then suddenly, ooh, your lips are touching mine.
This song was in the unfortunate position where it hit number one at the very end of the 1965 Billboard year cycle. And because of that, it split the points from 65 to 66, and as a result, never made the year-end top 100 on either countdown, 65 or 66. It's a disappointment because it was a number one hit. There's a few songs like that littered throughout the countdown years, particularly in the 60s and 70s. But I don't think the Supremes have to worry too much. They had 12 number one hits throughout their career. We've only heard 5 of them so far, so 7 left, including one on this podcast. We ain't done with the Supremes just yet. Let's jump back into the 80s, shall we? A song that's a quintessential 80s hit, the best song of the career from a group with a very misleading name, because they are in fact a trio, not related, and not named Thompson, yet the name Thompson Twins stuck. Thompson Twins started out as 7 members, but became a trio when they achieved their greatest success, starting with this song from 1983 in the UK, released in February of 84, called Hold Me Now, went all the way up to number 3, and it's a signifier of the second British invasion, the mini British invasion, heavy on synthesizers, which I will talk to a little bit later in this countdown about that. This is one of the songs of that. Song number 1617, Thompson Twins, the best hit of their career, Hold Me Now.
Hold me now. Whoa, hold my heart. Stay with me. Let loving start. Let loving start.
It's a wonderful mid-tempo new wave hit. I really like that song, and I have a great memory of me introducing it in a 1983 Top 25 Songs cassette that I had made when my voice was still way up here because I hadn't quite hit puberty at 11 years old. Also explaining how the Thompson Twins were not a related duet named Thompson. I hope I'm doing you proud, younger Chris. That was Hold Me Now, song number 1617 on Billboard's Top 3,000 Songs of All Time. I also meant to say, Hold Me Now, 15 weeks in the top 40 for 1983, a number 3 hit. It's pretty darn good. Song number 1616. I'm actually having nostalgia over my very first podcast done just before Christmas in 2024. The first 20 songs of the top 3,000 countdown songs, 3,000 to 2981. The third song that I introduced was from this gentleman from the 60s. It's from Fargo, North Dakota teen idol crooner Bobby V. And the song is called Rubber Ball, and I don't know why that always sticks out to me. It was the third song that I mentioned at 2998. He's had 3 other songs on this countdown since then. Devil or Angel at 2624, The Night Has 1,000 Eyes at 2184, and Run to Him at song 1924. He really was quite successful in the early 60s. This song came 4 years after his last top 10 hit in 1967, after the British invasion, when a lot of the British bands would completely destroy all of the American singers because music had changed then. But he had a couple of hits left up his sleeve, including this number 3 hit called Come Back When You Grow Up. It spent 13 weeks in the top 40 and peaked at number 3. It is song number 1616. Bobby V, welcome back to the countdown. This is Come Back When You Grow Up. Let's take a listen.
You're looking real good like a woman now. Your mind hasn't gotten the message somehow. So if you can't take it and the going gets rough, come back, baby, when you grow up.
Has a little more mature flavor to it, not as much of a teeny bopper hit. That was Come Back When You Grow Up by Bobby V, song number 1616 on Billboard's Top 3,000 Songs of All Time. Does he have any left? Yes, he does. He actually had a number 1 hit in 1961 called Take Good Care of My Baby. That's his remaining song on this countdown. So we'll see you then, Bobby. The English group 10cc is back on the countdown at song number 1615 with the best song of their career. Interestingly enough, they had 3 songs make the top 40 in the U.S. All of them end with the word love. We had People in Love, a number 40 hit in 1977, and then the number 5 hit, The Things We Do for Love. That was song number 2610. Well, the best song is I'm Not in Love, their original hit from 1975. Peaked at number 2, where it spent a 2-week stint on November 8th and November 15th of 1975, kept out of the top spot by Elton John's classic Island Girl. It lands at song number 1615. This is 10cc with I'm Not in Love.
I'm not in love, so don't forget it. It's just a silly phase I'm going through. And just because I call you up.
Recorded in their own studio in England called Strawberry Studios, named after the Beatles' Strawberry Fields Forever, one of their favorite groups. That was I'm Not in Love by 10cc, the biggest hit of their career and song number 1615 on Billboard's Top 3,000 Songs of All Time. Our special segment in this podcast is on the year 1982. I did an entire podcast, a long distance dedication podcast about me first falling in love with American Top 40 and Casey Kasem, which took place in the spring of 1982. I will not rehash my personal experiences again. You can get that on the long distance dedication, but I wanted to talk about the year 1982 as it fits in the entire rock and roll picture, I guess, at least according to me. To me, 1982 kind of puts the 70s in the rearview mirror finally. One of the great misnomers about lumping music into decades is that you think that whatever genre is popular at the time is immediately closed off on January 1st of the very next year outside of that decade. That's not the case. Now, the 70s is pretty distinct. The great funk R&B movements of the early 70s and all of the disco and what I call schmaltz pop, the light ballads, flowery ballads from the mid to late 70s. But the first number one song of the 80s was by Casey and the Sunshine Band's lead singer Henry Wayne Casey. And Funky Town hit number one in 1980. It didn't go away in 1980, although it started to dress down a little bit in 80 and 81. We still had the flowery songs, but it wasn't as in abundance as it was in the 70s. 82, that kind of stopped. Okay, you have the Charlene song, I've Never Been to Me, but that was recorded in the 70s, and it was just revitalized by a DJ with a keen ear. I think the most significant number one song of that year is the Human League's Don't You Want Me. I don't want to underestimate what a big deal that was to have a British synthesizer-heavy band hit number one in the United States. That kind of signaled the real beginning of the mini British invasion of synthesizer track hits that had a little bit of punk in it, a little bit of pop in it, but not flowery, definitely not flowery. And that kind of paved the way to the rest of the 80s, or at least the mid-80s for that matter. One thing I did notice about 82, a lot of artists that made their name in the 60s and 70s continued to be extremely popular in the 80s. Paul McCartney, for example, the Beatles from the 60s and Wings in the 70s, did some solo work in the 80s, duets with another 70s icon, Michael Jackson, who became an 80s super icon, and Stevie Wonder, who was a 70s icon that continued into the 80s. Diana Ross from the Supremes, the 60s and the 70s, continued her reign in the 80s. You had the Steve Miller Band from the 70s have their biggest hit in the 80s with the song Abracadabra. And don't forget Fleetwood Mac, a big group from the late 70s that made a big comeback in 1982, in particular the song Hold Me. You had arena rock bands making their noises heard with groups like Journey and Foreigner, and especially Survivor. Can't underestimate the power of the song Eye of the Tiger, a real rock and roll anthem that dominated the charts in the summer of 1982. 1982 was a year of Daryl Hall and John Oates continuing to stay at the top. They really started in 1981 and continued throughout the 80s. 82 was no exception. And it was also the year John Cougar Mellencamp broke out with his album American Fool. The only real band that was sort of flowery and stayed extremely popular in 82 was Air Supply, but they were always an 80s band. Just a nice cross-section of hits from so many genres that felt more like 80s genres than 70s genres. That was 1982. Later on in this podcast, I will get to some of the responses to the question, what is your favorite song from 1982? I look forward to doing that. And we will end this podcast with a song from 1982, one of my favorites. Now we move on to song number 1614. Did you know that there are 4 different songs that hit top 40 with the same title, Because of You? All of them took place between 1988 and 2007. 3 of them hit top 10. 2 of them on this countdown. We heard Kelly Clarkson's version, a number 7 hit Because of You at song 1851. Well, what beat that? A 1998 song by the pop boy band 98 Degrees. 98 Degrees is an LA, Ohio-based boy band pop R&B during the boy band craze of the late 90s that had 6 top 40 hits in their career, 3 of them top 10, although 2 of them missed this countdown, including a number 2 hit, Gimme Just One Night from the year 2000 that only made it to song number 4057, but they had one called Because of You, a number 3 hit from 1998 that spent 19 weeks in the top 40, lands here at song number 1614. This is the one hit from 98 Degrees on this countdown, Because of You. Let's take a listen.
Sunshine after the rain. You're the cure against my fear and my pain. 'Cause I'm losing my mind when you're not around. It's all because of you.
You cannot get more boy band genre than that particular song, Because of You. Weren't quite as commercially successful as their boy band contemporaries like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, yet still made a name for themselves, 6 top 40 hits in their career. That was Because of You, song number 1614 on Billboard's top 3,000 songs of all time. Moving on to song number 1613, and I am immediately transported back to my music teacher in elementary school, Miss Bliss, who had a Christmas pageant and a spring pageant every year. And every year during the spring pageant, she would bring out this trusty tune from 1981, and we would all dance around like cowboys. The song is called Elvira by the Oak Ridge Boys. The Oak Ridge Boys, a long-standing gospel pop country group from Oak Ridge, Tennessee, since the name. Now, the quartet originally formed in 1943 as Wally Fowler and the Georgia Clodhoppers, but then changed it to Oak Ridge Quartet. And they've had a changing lineup. No less than 32 members have been a part of the Oak Ridge Boys Quartet, or the Oak Ridge Boys, between 1943 and 2025. The 3 members that have been the longest lasting are Dwayne Allen, William Lee Golden, and Richard Sturban. And they were the ones, along with Joe Bonsall, that penned the number 5 hit from 1981, Elvira. Just picture a prepubescent Chris dancing around every spring to this song. Elvira hit number 5 in 1981 and lands right here at song number 1613. These are the Oak Ridge Boys.
I'm singing Elvira, Elvira. My heart's on fire for Elvira. Giddy up.
I really adored Miss Bliss, all 4'10" of her in heels. She was such a sweet lady and a great music teacher. I even got to put up with that slightly cheesy song, Elvira, the Oak Ridge Boys. They had one other top 40 hit called Bobby Sue that peaked at number 12 in 1982. It was their follow-up hit to Elvira, but this was their big one, and it's song number 1613. Moving on to song number 1612, and Diana Ross and Florence Ballard and Mary Wilson are back, and with another number 1 hit. This one has the distinction of hitting number 1 twice. The first by the Supremes, and then again in 1987 by Kim Wilde. That one we're going to be hearing later. The song is called You Keep Me Hangin' On, one of 2 number 1 songs from 1966 by Diana Ross and the Supremes, after Holland, Dozier, and Holland made a vow to make sure that they give them number 1 hits. It's song number 1612. This is the Supremes with You Keep Me Hangin' On.
Set me free, why don't you, babe? Let me be, why don't you, baby? 'Cause you don't really love me. You just keep me hanging on. Now you don't really want me. You just keep me hanging on.
It's really a great song. And don't take my word for it. Rolling Stone magazine lists this as the 339th greatest song of all time. Went to number 1 twice, and even Vanilla Fudge took the song in 1968 to number 6. So it's got 3 top 10 appearances by 3 different artists. But Diana Ross and the Supremes will always be the original. That was song number 1612, You Keep Me Hangin' On. The late 80s and early 90s were prime real estate for hard rock, arena rock ballads. It fused very well with the hair metal genre, so much so that a lot of the hair metal bands that came out would only have 1 or 2 popular songs, and they would be the ballads. Take the Canadian rock supergroup Alias. Supergroup, they formed with members of the group Sheriff, remember the song When I'm With You, another ballad, and founding members of the group Heart, not the Wilson sisters, but Roger Fisher, Steve Fossen, and Mike DeRozier. They had 2 top 40 hits, one in 1990 and one in 1991, both power ballads. Their number 13 hit, Waiting for Love, from 1991, missed this countdown. But their big hit, a number 2 hit in 1990 called More Than Words Can Say, spent 15 weeks in the top 40, did make this countdown. It's song number 1611, peaked at number 2, kept out of the top spot after their 1-week stint at number 2 on November 24th, 1990 by Mariah Carey's Love Takes Time. But it's good enough to land here. It's song 1611, More Than Words Can Say, Alias.
I need you now. More than words can say. I need you now. I've got to find a way. I need you now. Before I lose my mind.
This is also a song that is power ballad as power ballad can get. We are getting the most extreme versions of the genres that I'm describing in this podcast. I need to do a special segment on the number of times the word more shows up in a title. It shows up about 100 times in all different types of songs. I want to dive into that. But for now, More Than Words Can Say, song number 1611, Alias's one and only hit on this countdown. And we are halfway done with this set. Song number 1610, and it's the first of 3 songs in this next set of 10 that I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, were from late 60s, early 70s R&B classic groups. And it's so cool that they were all bunched up here together like this. The first of the 3 is the Chicago-based R&B group, the Shy Lights. Shy Lights, Chicago, get it? They're a vocal quartet that had many members coming in and out of the group, similar to the Oak Ridge Boys, although not 32 members. They were formed in 1959, but didn't have their first top 40 pop hit until 1971, with members Eugene Record, Robert Lester, Creedale Jones, and Marshall Thompson. They had 11 top 10 R&B hits. 2 of them crossed over into the mainstream pop. The number 1 hit, Oh Girl, which we will hear later in this countdown, and this one. This was the original version of which MC Hammer did sort of a remake and took it to number 4. We heard that song at number 1717 just a few podcasts ago. The song is Have You Seen Her, the original version, and it's song number 1610, peaked at number 3, and we will hear it right now. This is the Shy Lights. Welcome to the countdown with Have You Seen Her?
I keep saying she'll be back, but today again I've lied.
I see her face everywhere I go, on the street and even at the picture show. Have you seen her? Tell me, have you seen her?
It was written by Eugene Record and Barbara Acklin, and it has a spoken lyrics, which was fairly common in the R&B 70s era. And they had the best early 70s afros, too. That was the Shy Lights with Have You Seen Her, song number 1610 on Billboard's Top 3,000 Songs of All Time. 2 more R&B classics from the 70s remain on this podcast. We'll get to them soon. Speaking of the 70s, Donny Osmond was quite the teen idol icon in the early 70s when he was with his brothers, the Osmonds, and came up with great hits like One Bad Apple. And he also had a string of hits with his sister, Marie Osmond, throughout the 70s. He also had quite a solo career, with 13 top 40 hits, 6 of them making the top 10, 11 of them all between 1971 and 1976. And then nothing for a long, long time. I think he got tired of the teen idol label that was put on him, and he didn't make any music for quite a long time until 1988, when he came out with a comeback album titled Donny Osmond. And the first single off that album, Soldier of Love, became one of the biggest hits of his career. Now, Donny Osmond wasn't a hot-selling item at the time. In fact, he didn't even have a contract with a label in the United States. A cassette from Europe made its way over to the program director at ABC's WPLJ-FM in New York, and she decided to promote the single by not listing the artist, just playing the single in the rotation and giving it sort of a mystery. Who is this? Who is this? When it was finally revealed it was Donny Osmond, enough people had listened to the song and enjoyed it that it became a part of the regular rotation. He got a contract off of that, and it sprouted from there. It went all the way up to number 2 for a single week on June 3rd, 1989, kept out of the top spot by Michael Damian's remake of the David Essex classic Rock On. This is Soldier of Love, song number 1609. Here is the comeback hit for Donny Osmond. Comeback hits from earlier generations making a real imprint on the Billboard pop charts were kind of vogue in the late 80s. You look at Smokey Robinson, you look at Bill Medley from the Righteous Brothers, you even look at the Beach Boys. They all had some of the biggest hits of their career in that time period. Donny Osmond's no exception. That was Soldier of Love, song number 1609 on Billboard's Top 3,000 Songs of All Time. He has one hit, solo hit, that he couldn't beat with Soldier of Love, the number 1 song, Go Away, Little Girl, which we'll be hearing later in this countdown. Song number 1608, and it's a synth pop new wave classic from 1988. A lot of late 80s in this particular countdown from a group called Information Society out of Minneapolis, St. Paul. There's a lot of Duran Duran Pet Shop Boys style to Information Society, so much that you might confuse one of their songs with a Duran Duran or Pet Shop Boys classic. But their big hit from 1988 is called What's on Your Mind, Pure Energy. It spent 14 weeks in the top 40 in 1988, peaked at number 3, spent 39 weeks on the dance charts. It's a very popular song at that time, and it lands right here at song number 1608. This is Information Society with What's on Your Mind, Pure Energy.
I wanna know what you're thinking. There are some things you can't hide. I wanna know what you're feeling. Tell me what's on your mind.
There's a little Leonard Nimoy from Star Trek in this song. There's a sample of his voice in an episode called Errand of Mercy, and that's how it got the subtitled Pure Energy. They had 3 top 40 hits in their career, a follow-up hit in 1989 called Walking Away, and in 1990 they had a number 28 hit called Think, but that's the last that we heard of them. They're very popular in Minneapolis, where they have a star outside of the mural in the Minneapolis nightclub First Avenue for artists that have had a lot of impact in the city. That was Information Society, song number 1608 on Billboard's Top 3,000 Songs of All Time. Well, I look over the answers to the question from 1982, what is your favorite song? And I do see some similarities, although I'm very sad to report nobody picked Joan Jett and the Blackhearts' I Love Rock and Roll. That's okay, I'll pick them, but shame on all of you. That was by far the best song that year. I do see Richard Congram listing Don't You Want Me, as I mentioned earlier about being one of the most poignant number 1 songs of that year. Tim Jones gave me so many of them, I think over 20, that I don't know where to begin with it, except I will say the one at the top is Any Day Now by Ronnie Millsap. And I am a sucker for Ronnie Millsap as a country artist, much more so than Kenny Rogers, who I thought got to be a little overplayed. And I love Chris Heiser's mention of John Waite's Change. He was known for Missing You, obviously the number 1 hit, but Change off the Vision Quest soundtrack, one of my favorites and such a good song. Fred Hawson, thank you for picking Daryl Hall and John Oates' I Can't Go For That. No Can Do. There's several that picked Crosby, Stills, and Nash. They had a little bit of a comeback in 82. Southern Cross and Wasted on the Way were 2 of their pop hits. Steve Ruskin mentioned one. Randy Knott mentioned another. And a couple of folks listed Dan Fogelberg's leader of the band, Don Logis and Ruben Klutz Collins. I love the fact that Ann Keene lists Centerfold and Jack and Diane, 2 powerful number 1 hits that we're going to be hearing at the end of season 3. Rhonda Work lists Freeze Frame by Jay Giles Band, another fantastic song. Deb Ruzicka lists Goody Two Shoes by Adam Ant. I was always amazed that Adam Ant didn't have more of a presence in the top 40, despite all of the screen time he got on the MTV rotations. Goody Two Shoes was his best hit, and it only hit number 12. But thanks for bringing it up. Karen Shupp lists Empty Garden, Hey Hey Johnny, the tribute to John Lennon from Elton John. Every time I hear it, it still grips me the same way it did the first time I heard it and realized what it was about. And it's Matt Geskey's one of his very first favorite songs. Matt Geskey, I should say, also lists 82 as his favorite year of the rock era. Thank you for doing that. Aaron McCracken, I'm glad he also put Someday Some Way by Marshall Crenshaw, a very underrated pop tune. He said it's his all-time favorite song at the moment, anyway. Robert Brittenham also lists Southern Cross by Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Marju Larrick Boulder lists Tainted Love. Other notables, Jack Smith lists Rock This Town by the Stray Cats. Steve Johnson Oliveros has a twofer, Jack and Diane and Hurt So Good, by the then-known rocker John Cougar. It was the first concert he ever went to, and it was also the last concert that I ever went to just a month ago. But a couple of mentions for Eye of the Tiger. Christine Fenninger, Hans Anderson, and Victor Cruz all picked Eye of the Tiger. That really was the summer of 82. I love all of the responses. I'll do a few more before we end this podcast. Now on with the countdown at song number 1607. Eagles are back with their 1975 classic Lion Eyes. It's the best hit of their career that did not hit number one. They hit number one 5 times, and we haven't heard any of them yet. We did hear Take It to the Limit just a few podcasts ago, a number 4 hit at song 1649. This one beats it out by a little bit. It peaked at number 2 after spending 11 weeks in the top 40. On November 8th and November 15th of 1975, kept out of the top spot by Elton John's Island Girl. He kept a lot of songs out of the top spot, and unfortunately, because it peaked around November, it split up its points, and it was another song that didn't go into a year-end countdown. We've had a few of these in this podcast, but for now, it lands at song number 1607. This is Eagles with Lion Eyes.
And your smile is a thin disguise. I thought by now you'd realize there ain't no way to hide your lying eyes.
What a well-arranged and well-harmonized track, Lion Eyes, written by Don Henley and Glenn Frey. It won a Grammy for Best Pop Vocal Performance by a Duo, Group, or Chorus in 1976 and was nominated for Record of the Year. It even made it onto the Country Top 40, one of the only songs in their career in which to do so. That was Lion Eyes by Eagles, song number 1607 on Billboard's Top 3,000 Songs of All Time. They got 5 songs left, all number 1 hits. Song number 1606, and we go to the second of our 3 R&B late 60s, early 70s classic groups. This one from the OJs. The Ohio-based champions of Philadelphia soul makes their 3rd appearance on this countdown. We heard Backstabbers at song 2237 and Used to Be My Girl at song 2132. Well, it's been about 600 songs, but they're back with a number 5 track called I Love Music. Spent 14 weeks in the top 40 and peaked at number 5. In fact, it debuted in the top 40 the same week that Lion Eyes peaked at number 2. And it beat it out by 1 spot on the all-time countdown. This is OJ, song number 1606. This is I Love Music.
Sweet, sweet music. All that is swinging, all the joy that is bringing. I'm so happy to be in complete harmony. I love you.
This was a nightclub dance sensation, spent 8 weeks at number 1 on the Disco Top 20 Billboard countdown, and was actually split into 2 parts because the length of the song was almost 7 minutes long, and they never did that back then, played a 7-minute song unless it was American Pie or Hey Jude. So this was considered I Love Music Part 1, the part that hit top 5, but you can play the whole song. You can actually play the whole song on the playlist that we've got for Chris's Billboard Top 3000 Countdown playlist. Mitch Worthington is the curator of it, and it's on Spotify. He's got all songs from 3000, Is This Love by Survivor, to the current one at song 1601. You get a lot of wonderful listening to that, but you can hear the songs in its entirety, including the 7-minute version of I Love Music, song number 1606 on Billboard's Top 3000 Songs of All Time. When Michael Jackson's long-awaited album Bad came out in 1987, following Thriller in 1983 or 82-83, Bad was a good album. It was a great album, but it wasn't Thriller. It's hard to surpass an iconic album like Thriller. I felt the same way a bit about the follow-up album to Bon Jovi's Slippery When Wet, their breakout album in 1986. It only had 3 hits that made the top 40, but You Give Love a Bad Name, Living on a Prayer, and Wanted Dead or Alive are 3 epic songs. Probably the 3 of the best of Bon Jovi's entire career. The New Jersey album that came out afterward in 1988, New Jersey actually had 5 hits hit the top 40. Bad actually had 5 number ones, while Thriller only had 2. So it's not uncommon for a follow-up album to an iconic one to have more overall Billboard popularity, but not be quite the epic that the original was. And this was the case, I think, for Bon Jovi. Although the songs were also good. This is the second one that we're playing off the New Jersey album. We heard Lay Your Hands on Me at song 2845 a long time ago. We're hearing now a number 3 hit called Born to Be My Baby from 1989. Spent 13 weeks in the top 40, and it lands here at song number 1605. Bon Jovi with the good but not great New Jersey album and Born to Be My Baby. Let's take a listen.
Only God would know the reasons, but I bet it must have had a plan. 'Cause you were born to be my baby, and baby I was made to be your man.
Let's hear it for the songs from the late 80s and 1990. We've got 5 of them in this podcast all by itself. This one is the best one of the 5, Born to Be My Baby by Bon Jovi. He's got 6 songs left, 5 of them number 1 hits. Can you believe he had 5 number 1 hits? He was really something back in that time period. All of them are in season 3. Now we come to song number 1604 and the hard rock group Aerosmith. They had their first top 40 hit in 1975, the number 36 hit Sweet Emotion, which, by the way, on the classic rock countdowns is in the top 50. But they did not hit number 1 for another 23 years. One of the last hits they've had in their career, and a time period where they turned more pop than hard rock. It was off the soundtrack from the movie Armageddon, starring lead singer Steven Tyler's daughter, Liv Tyler. The song's called I Don't Want to Miss a Thing. It actually debuted at number 1 on September 5th, 1998, and stayed there for 4 weeks until September 26th. But it only lands here at song 1604 because it had a relatively short shelf life for songs that hit top of the charts in the 90s. It was only there for 14 weeks, which if it came out in 1980 would be one of the 300 biggest songs. But because it was 1998, it didn't generate enough points, but still made it all the way to song 1604. This is Aerosmith with the second best hit of their career. Not their best, but their only number 1. This is I Don't Want to Miss a Thing.
Don't wanna close my eyes. I don't wanna fall asleep 'cause I miss you, baby. And I don't wanna miss a thing. 'Cause even when I dream of you, the sweetest dream would never do. I'd still miss you.
Very much an essential power ballad of the 90s. Does this song still hold up? Does the movie Armageddon still hold up about 28 years later? A good question for the listeners. That was I Don't Want to Miss a Thing by Aerosmith, song number 1604 on Billboard's Top 3000 Songs of All Time. What's their best hit? Should I tell you? You know what? I'll let you guess that one. I won't reveal it right now. What I can say is it's coming up in about 4 or 5 podcasts. Song number 1603 was conceived, written, recorded, and released in 10 days, and then charted 1 month later. You want to talk about instant karma. Yes, this would be the John Lennon and Yoko Ono Plastic Ono Band hit Instant Karma, We All Shine On. It actually peaked at number 3 for 3 weeks and spent many weeks simultaneously in the top 3 with John Lennon's group, the Beatles' Let It Be, when it hit number 1 in April of 1970. Sort of introducing the Beatles as solo artists that occurred for the rest of the 70s as the Beatles themselves were winding down. It is song number 1603 and the third song on this countdown by John Lennon, following Imagine and Whatever Gets You Through the Night. This is Instant Karma, We All Shine On. Let's take a listen.
You think you are a superstar? Well, right you are. Where we all shine on, like the moon and the stars and the sun. Where we all shine on.
Not abandoning the Beatles completely, George Harrison has some contributions on this song, and it was also produced by Phil Spector, who had taken a hiatus for a couple of years. That was Instant Karma, We All Shine On, song number 1603 on Billboard's top 3,000 songs of all time. It was, throughout the 70s, his best solo effort. The only songs that were bigger than that were the songs that came out in the 80s. But of course, he has a lot of Beatle tunes, so we're not done by a long shot from hearing from the great and wonderful John Lennon. One last pass through on my favorite year of rock and roll, 1982. There were 225 songs that year that hit the top 40 from that magical year of 82. Only 16 number one hits, a relatively low number for that time period, but there were a lot of songs that had many, many weeks at number one in 82. I remember that specifically because I paid so close attention to it. Ebony and Ivory, I Love Rock and Roll, Eye of the Tiger, Physical. Of that 225, 51 of them made this top 3,000 countdown, and we've heard from 20 of them already. The most recent one was song 1630, Heart Attack by Olivia Newton-John. We will have another one in just 2 songs. I love Tara Morrison's favorite song of the year, I Melt With You by Modern English. Remember the movie Valley Girl? That was the main love theme to that song. She said, I wonder how many people lost their virginity to that. I was a little young for that, but I would tend to agree that there would be a lot of them. And I love that Bill Yates put Who Can It Be Now by Men at Work. That was their first hit in the top 40 and first number one, and that was my second favorite group in 1982 after Daryl Hall and John Oates. I love that Business as Usual album, that big yellow album that stood out. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Mark Weilage's big list of favorites from 1982, and he has a huge one, including Gypsy from Fleetwood Mac and Ribbon in the Sky from Stevie Wonder, a couple of 70s stalwarts that made their bones in the 80s as well. A couple of people also mentioned the song You Can Do Magic by America, a little bit of a comeback for them after a big 70s run. Robin Zisman's Stone was one that mentioned them, and Steven Taylor lists Take It Away by Paul McCartney. I remember that one because it stuck at number 10 for like 6 consecutive weeks. I found that even when I was listening to it every week as a very odd thing that it just hung on at the number 10 position. And Devon DeShazo lists Let It Whip by the Daz Band. They called themselves Daz as they were a mixture of dance and jazz. And that song just kicked ass, by the way. Frank Van Beekveld lists Old Julie by Shaky, and Matt Gasky was very impressed. He didn't expect to see Shakin' Stevens represented here. Very cool. So thanks for that contribution. And Doug Steer, I will end it with him. Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic by the Police. It was the year before Synchronicity came out, the magnum opus for the Police. They had a lot of popularity in 81 and 82 with songs like Every Little Thing. Thank you so much for all your contributions. I'm sorry I couldn't get to everyone. And remember, if you respond to one of my questions, you could be in this podcast. And now song number 1602 and the third of our 3 R&B favorites from the late 60s and early 70s. We already heard from the Chi-Lites and the OJs. How about the Isley Brothers, the R&B funk group, mainly a trio out of Cincinnati, Ohio? We already heard them once with the song Fight the Power. It's song 1934. This is the song that I remember the most about them, maybe their signature song, and it was their highest charting peak position from 1969 called It's Your Thing. A nice little pop funk R&B classic. It peaked at number 2 On May 3rd, 1969, kept out of the top spot by the Fifth Dimension smash Aquarius Let the Sunshine In. Lands right here at song 1602. This is the Isley Brothers with their Grammy Award-winning It's Your Thing.
It's your thing. Do what you wanna do. I can't tell you who to sock it to. It's your thing. Do what you wanna do.
Over 60 artists have covered that song, including some greats: James Brown, Sly and the Family Stone, the Jackson 5, Led Zeppelin, Aretha Franklin, Salt and Pepper. You know the song's good when you're getting those heavyweights to make their own versions of it. The Isley Brothers and It's Your Thing, song number 1602 on Billboard's Top 3,000 Songs of All Time. And that will bring us to our final song of this set, song number 1601. Who's going to get it? Who is going to get the drum roll for this podcast? Well, you already know because I've said it several times. It's from 1982. It's the best song in the career of a new wave rock band from Boston, one of my all-time favorite groups. And this song was in the top 10 that magical March 6th week where I listened to American Top 40 for the very first time and fell in love with it. It was conceived in the mind of lead singer and guitarist Rick Ocasek, who had it for a couple of years before they rearranged it in 1981 for their album with the same name. It peaked at number 4 after spending 17 weeks in the top 40. Do you have it yet? I think you do. Song number 1601, and the best song of this set and of the 1600s is The Cars with Shake It Up.
Dance all night, play all day. Don't let nothing get in the way. Dance all night, keep the beat. Don't you worry about doing that beat. Shake it up. Shake it up. Yeah, shake it up.
I'll never get tired of that song. I'll never get tired of The Cars either. Easily one of the best bands of the 80s and one of my favorites of all time. That was Shake It Up. And I'm disappointed it's their best song because, I'm not going to introduce any more car songs to you. But they got the top one of the 1600s. That was Shake It Up, song number 1601 on Billboard's Top 3,000 Songs of All Time. And that will do it. Another wonderful set of 20 songs, a lot of 80s hits, a lot of late 80s hits. And we closed out the 1600s. We are 1,400 songs in, 1,600 songs till we get to the greatest song in rock history. I want to thank Jeffrey Mosher, Robert Rusk, and Mitch Worthington for without their efforts and help, this podcast couldn't be the best it could be. But most of all, I want to thank you, the listeners, especially when having the patience when I'm out for a week. It's great to be back and finishing up episode 70. Tune in next week when we start the 1500s. We are 5 episodes away from the halfway mark. Can you believe that? We are currently over 15,300 downloads of the first 70 plus episodes. And in new cities like Boca Raton, Florida, and Thousand Oaks, California, and Shrewsbury, Shropshire in England, and Ludenshield, North Rhine-Westphalia in Germany. A lot of North Rhine-Westphalia in Germany, so whatever person is doing a commute and playing my podcast, thank you so very, very much. As I do with every podcast, I will end it by playing clips of the 20 songs that we have just listened to. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful week. It is one of the great pleasures in life to connect with people, both through music or through voice. I hope I've done both. And so on, and so on, and Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Good day.
Easy. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need.
So here I am, come walk right through my door and be loved for the rest of your life.
somehow. So if you can't take it and the going gets rough, come back, baby, when you grow up.
I'm not in love, so don't forget it. It's just a silly phase I'm going through. And just because I call you up,
Sunshine after the rain, you're the cure against my fear and my pain. 'Cause I'm losing my mind when you're not around. It's all because of you.
I'm singing hellfire up, hellfire up. My heart's on fire, hellfire up. Giddy up, papa, mama.
Set me free, why don't you, babe? Let me be, why don't you, baby? 'Cause you don't really love me, you just keep me hanging on. Now you don't really want me, you just keep me hanging on.
I need you now, more than words can say. I need you now. I've gotta find a way. I need you now, before I lose my mind.
I keep saying she'll be back, but today again I've lied.
I see her face everywhere I go, on the street and even at the picture show. Have you seen her? Tell me, have you seen her?